All right, welcome back to Totally Frank. We are here with Cindy Adam, who is the chief of the University Police and the chair of the parking committee here on campus at Oswego. And just before the break, we were talking about students and their concerns with parking that we've all experienced here.
Sure.
You were a student here for a period of time.
Yeah.
I'm a student here, so we've all experienced the frustration. So I'd like to first start out with going to one of our questions from you, the viewers. Melissa says, I'm a commuter from the Fulton area, and I often arrive in the late morning and park at the end of C32. I sometimes have classes until 9 p.m. or work in my organization's office until well after 11 p.m. and feel uncomfortable having to walk so far to my car. How would you address that?
Well, from a personal safety perspective, I can certainly understand that, and I think that there's a lot of strategies that a person in that situation can do. One of the first things that they can do is tie into registering for the Rave Guardian system. That's a personal safety system using a cell phone. So providing that this listener uses a cell phone, that's something that they can do by going to the My Oswego site. They'll click on Rave Guardian, and it'll just take a couple minutes for them to create a profile. In so doing, if they have Verizon, Sprint, or AT&T, beginning in June, we already have Sprint and AT&T on board. We're in the process of getting Verizon on board. What that will do is it'll use the GPS functionality in your cell phone, and if you ever had an emergency, you would just click one button on your cell phone that's already been set up by you, the user, and it would ring into University Police. We would know that it is that particular student. We would even have a picture of her that she's provided to us, and we would know where she is on campus, where she's having her emergency. We would immediately dispatch police officers to that location and be able to get her resources, emergency resources, in that way in a much more expeditious fashion. So we're really proud of the Rave Guardian system. We're the first SUNY in the entire state to bring Rave Guardian here to any of the SUNY campuses, so we're proud of that here at Oswego. The other modality with Rave Guardian is that if you're just walking alone at night and you're feeling uncomfortable, you can set a personal safety timer using your own cell phone. The Rave Guardian system then monitors you in terms of your progress across campus or wherever it is that you are at that time. And if you reach the time where you are not where you should be and you have some sort of emergency, it's going to trigger an alarm that will ring into University Police, but it's going to let you know that. So the system is really to be used in two different ways. It's to help students not only actually feel safer, but in reality be safer. It's similar to having a blue light in your phone, in your pocket, in the sense that you're connecting to the police department using GPS, so we can get you help if you ever need it. Oh, so that's one of the things that they can do that we've had available since November this year. The other thing she can do is use the buddy system, walk with classmates from her class, so that she's not walking alone in the dark. And then one of the final strategies that she can do is call University Police if she really ever feels uncertain and uncomfortable for whatever reason. UP can't transport people, but what we can do is dispatch an officer to that general vicinity, and we would then monitor that person's progress to make sure that they get where they're going safely.
That's great. So that's great use of technology. Melissa, I hope that answers your question. Now let's talk, Scott had a question, and Scott asks, why are there so many free spaces in lot E18, yet commuters are fighting for spots in C32?
Well, we just kind of addressed that in the sense that we've reassigned, as of this year, some of those spaces that are sitting there fallow every day. But what we realize is that parking needs to be a fluid resource that we use based on how we need it for that particular school year. This year we have some extra spaces, but we use those spaces on a frequent basis for special events, if we have open houses for admission, for example, or if we're having a large-scale career night, or for any special event like hockey or any other type of special event that we're having that is going to draw large numbers of people to this campus center. So those spaces really are not wasted. It's just that they're being reserved for visitors to the campus or for others that are potential students. One of the things that we know for next year from here on out is once we begin our math and sciences project, those spaces are very likely to become much needed spaces for employees again. So as of this time about next year, give or take a few months, it's going to be highly likely that those spaces will be needing to be used by employees that work on the east side of campus. So my concern as a university police chief or as the chair of the parking committee is if we just turn them over to students at this point, there's going to be an adjustment period that would be very difficult for students to readjust to. Exactly.
So it would be kind of,
so for this school year, our thought is to give, let students use some of those spaces to the point where they needed to, where it got us to that status quo point. And knowing that next year and from there on out, once we begin construction on the east side of campus, those spaces are going to be much vied for, because we're going to lose whole lots on the east side of campus as that big project is coming on board. It's going to be great, though. It's going to be a wonderful addition to the campus.
Sure. All right, Scott, I hope that answers your question. And our final question comes from Laura E. Laura just asked simply, why are the commuter lots so far from everything?
Well, it's a great question, quite honestly. When this parking program was first established in the late 80s, it was set up to be a user fee. The whole methodology and mindset, if you will, of the parking program is it's supposed to try to get everybody some access to the campus based on what their true need is. And at the time that the policy was established, it was ordained that the resident students would be remanded to park close to their resident halls, and they're supposed to be staying there. They're not supposed to be trying to drive to their class. That's the benefit that they get by living on campus, is that they are able to be allowed to park next to their residence hall. Employees are those that are doing instruction, so they really need to be close to the academic areas because of the fact that their ability to reliably get to class is going to impact negatively their entire class if they can't get there in a regular way. So it's important to us as a campus, not because we value one group more than the other, but just because that impact is going to be so negative on our students that, frankly, are paying for that instruction. They're paying for that tuition. And so that's why the employees are allowed to park close to the academic areas. And then commuters are meant to be coming to the perimeter of campus and then be shuttled over by the free shuttle. And that's really been the methodology that we've been using for about the last 20 years here. It's not because the college favors one particular group over another.
That's just how it worked out. So what would you say to students real quick? We only have about 10 seconds left, but if they had to have concerns that they wanted to voice, they feel aren't being heard, what would you say to them to do? I
think that they should use the structure that we have in place. And if they have questions, concerns about parking, they should vet those questions through the new president, Chrissy Ballesteros. And she's going to be able to assign those questions and concerns to the parking representatives that are representing that particular constituency group, whether that be community students or resident students. If they have particular concerns about safety, of course, they can always connect with me at adam@oswego.edu, or they can even call me if it's a really exigent matter at University Police at 5555.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cindy, thank you so much for coming.
Pleasure.
Appreciate your time. I hope we learned a lot. I hope we answered most of your questions.
Thanks.
We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with magician John Wolfson. Stay with us.